All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into the rest of this trade. So it's the Pelicans and the Grizzlies, and if you need a refresher of it, the Pelicans are getting Jonas Valanciunas, the 17th pick and the 51st pick in this draft. So they move down from 10 to 17, and then they get that second round pick. The Grizzlies get Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe. They move up from 17 to 10 and get the 40th pick. And in the 2022 protected Lakers first from the Pelicans, which is from that Anthony Davis deal. There's so many different avenues you could take to this. Go listen to Locked On Grizzlies, Locked On Pelicans. Locked On Pelicans had an episode out within like a couple of minutes of the trade. It was pretty wild to see him get that off. But for the Pelicans, they also open up this max. They open up a bunch of salary cap because they're switching out. They're getting rid of Adams and Bledsoe. So those guys don't necessarily have long bad contracts. They have short bad contracts, and so they get rid of those guys. They just trade it out for Jonas, and this is huge for them.
Yeah, especially, we've all seen the Kyle Lowry rumors with New Orleans that, they want to go after him. They want to, they're in the same kind of similar spot as Dallas, right? They have a young star. They think they can, who's our Chris Paul, who's our vet that we can bring in to calm us down, run the offense, give us some playmaking and all of this. So it's like, it's another team that's going to go after Kyle Lowry. And it's a team that, like, are you shocked if New Orleans goes out and says, screw that? We know that, like, it's going to be hard to convince Lowry to come to New Orleans over maybe an LA team that's a sign and trade, or even like a Dallas or something like that. We're going to have to overpay. If they go out and offer him like 2 for $70, it's like $35 a year. And you're like, what the crap? Like, if you're Kyle Lowry, how do you turn that down at that age, right? But if you're New Orleans, it's like, hey, we have the money now. If Lonzo's going to go elsewhere and make $20+ million a year, let's bring in Lowry to run the offense with Ingram, Zion, Valanciunas, some of these young guys. Like, I see why they want to do it, and now I'm kind of scared, to be honest, because we love Lowry.
We talked about those two guys. Steven Adams making 17, Eric Bledsoe making 18. So together, what is that? You start doing the math. That's like $25 million or $35 million right there that they just off put it. And Jonas only makes $14 million next year, and he's expiring. He was eligible for an extension. So they are really clearing up a lot of money there. That's almost $20 million that they cleared up just from this trade.
Yeah, and this will end up being
plus going down. They cleared a couple million going down from 10 to 17 too.
Yeah, so this will probably end up being a 3-team deal, right? Like, because what we were saying a while ago, that it can't be, this trade can't happen officially until the new year. So what they're probably going to do is between now and the new year. Monday. Yeah, what they're going to do between now and the new year is probably loop in a third team to take on Eric Bledsoe. It becomes a 3-team deal, and we might see some other stuff looped in there too, some smaller contracts, who's taking Bledsoe for what cost. And so in a way there might be some, more cap stuff from New Orleans. But
would you want to take Bledsoe?
No.
You're done.
And that's the thing too, is like, I've seen a small portion of just some fans. I wasn't on Twitter a ton today, but after the trade went down, I like just seeing initial reactions from people. And I seen a small portion of Mavs fan base, just a few people here and there. It's like, why can't Dallas jump in and do a deal like this? Yes, we just don't have the ammo and the assets to like, we didn't have a 10th overall pick. Like, you weren't taking on
to get what? What would Mavs fans want? Do they want Steven Adams? Do they want Eric Bledsoe?
But that's the thing. It's like, you're not getting the 10th overall pick just for taking Eric Bledsoe on. Like, that's not the case. Like, it's not like you're not going
to moving up 7 spots.
Yeah, so, and like Dallas, it's not like Dallas was sitting there at 15 or 16 or 18 or whatever it is to even do something like that. And they weren't just going to give the pick away. Like, they're still going to have a pick that's 7 spots down. They weren't just going to give it away to shed off a contract. And then you can have that bigger conversation too, if you even think Dallas should be in that camp of saying, yeah, we'll take on Bledsoe or Adams, whoever, and give us another draft pick, give us another young guy. They want some vets right now. So, yeah, anyway.
So, but you mentioned it earlier. This does have Kyle Lowry implications because the Pelicans have been connected to Kyle Lowry. There's been some rumors. The Miami Herald came out with a rumor today that the Heat, the New Orleans Pelicans, Dallas, the Knicks, and Philadelphia, and the Lakers are all believed to have interest in Kyle Lowry. And
Lakers? No way.
Lowry would have interest in each of those teams at the right dollar amount, according to a source briefed on his plans. A return to Toronto is considered much less likely, according to a source. Again, that's from the Miami Herald. So, Pelicans are in there, right? They're the worst team in there, but they are in there.
And that means they have to overpay.
They'd have to overpay. Now they have the money to overpay, but this also has implications for Lonzo because they can't bring back Lonzo if they're going to go do this Kyle Lowry thing.
Very true. And I think it's, insurance for Lonzo if Lonzo goes elsewhere and says, hey.
No, you're taking a step forward, right? Like,
well, I meant like insurance in a way of like you would prefer Lowry, but like you have some like time with Lonzo. Like if Lowry signs day one for 2 for 60 or whatever it is, then you just let Lonzo walk and say, all right, go do your thing. Or you try to work out a sign and trade with wherever he goes. But where it gets tricky is if Lowry says, hey, I'm going to take a few days. I'm going to take 3, 4, 5 days. And Lonzo goes out night one and signs a big offer sheet with Chicago or whoever it is. Then the clock's ticking for them, and then they're in that weird spot waiting on Lowry. But do they match Lonzo? Because if they match Lonzo, they're not going to get Lowry. All of that, that's David Griffin's like worst nightmare of that. So we'll see.
I think his worst nightmare is having to work at NBA TV again.
He's had some questionable decisions there, but
he may be back working at NBA TV again.